let's go back to 2016, 2017 and put you in my shoes. I'm in my 20s. I have my first real job of my career, have a little bit of money in my pocket, and like any 20-something, I'm just itching to make a huge financial mistake. Enter this Porsche 911. This is a 2009 Porsche 911 Carrera 997.2. And what I thought was going to be a terrible financial decision at the time has actually turned into one of my best financial decisions regarding cars, because this Porsche, for me, over the last 9 years, has been free. So, why this car? I wanted a sporty car. I thought maybe BMW Z4. A coworker got in my ear and was like, you know, Travis, the Porsche 996, it's really, really cheap. Just a little bit more than that BMW. You should look at those. And I went down that big rabbit hole of Porsche shopping, like all of you have, I'm sure. And I wanted a car that I could drive all the time and that wasn't going to cost me an arm and a leg to get fixed. So I decided to pay up a little bit more to hedge my risk and got this 997.2. You guys that know Porsches, you know all about IMS issues with the 996 and the early 997s. You know all about bore scoring issues, the rear main seal issues, all these things that plague this kind of earlier water-cooled generations of Porsche. And that's why I settled on this one. I like those cars. I test drove a couple of them. I just didn't have that risk tolerance to handle that. And this is where I wound up. I wanted a black on black car. I wanted a manual transmission car. I wanted it to just be a great all-around sports car. And this has been all of that and more. And when I bought this car, I paid, before tax and title, $39,797.50, which by today's standards almost seems laughable. But at the time, it was the most irrational, rational decision that I could make. By now, I'm sure that you are questioning my ranting and raving about a free Porsche, and I'm going to go over the numbers right now with this car to give you an idea of what this has actually taken. So, number one, I bought this car at the beginning of 2017 for $39,800. The tax on this car at the time, $3,500. Since then, until now, all of the maintenance, the mandatory things that I've put into this car to keep it on the road, keep it going, has been $16,700. That grand total brings us to $60,000 for the car as it sits, with all the maintenance, etc., tires, those sorts of things. Now, Hagerty has a really nice tool if you are a member that gives you some values of what these cars go for in different conditions. Condition 3 is the normal, like, daily driver. There's nothing mechanically wrong with it. It looks good from the outside. It's not like a super high mileage car, and that gives a 2009 Porsche 911 Carrera with a manual transmission a value of $65,000. So what you can see right now is if I were to sell this car, I would be getting about the same or a little bit more than what I have spent on the car and keeping it on the road for the last 9 years. So you probably want to know, how can I get a free Porsche as well over the long run? And I'm going to tell you, it comes down to a few things, and it's really important, that initial purchase that you make, because if you do the wrong thing from the start, you're going to decrease your odds of making this all work out as time goes on. And so these are a few observations that I've seen with this Porsche, other Porsches, everything over the last decade of kind of following the Porsche market. But the first thing that you need to focus on is the depreciation curve of your specific model. As soon as they roll off the lot, they're going to lose some value. You know, Porsches hold their value better than pretty much everything other than maybe like a Toyota Tacoma, but the 911 is really strong in that regard, but they do lose value. And so around year 7, 8-ish is, at least from what I've observed, is going to be the bottom of a car's value, or the 911's value. It's going to be pretty flat. It could keep going down, but that's going to be a safe area to start looking. And so I bought this car. It was 7 years old when I got it, and it was more or less flattened out. The second thing that you're really going to have to focus on when you do this is buying the right spec of car. I know, like everybody, I get tired of people talking about the spec, the spec, the spec. And this car isn't necessarily a fancy car, but there are a few things in it that an enthusiast would want. Number one, I would say that Porsches perform better in the market if they have a manual transmission. There's like a 10% value increase over that. So as you're paying maintenance over time, that is going to give you a little bit more buffer if it has a manual. Also, just if a PDK has a problem, everything I've read is it is replace the PDK, which is a very expensive fix to do. Whereas the manual transmission, as long as you drive it right, you know, you're going to just be swapping out a clutch for this. So that's the first bit of advice that I have. The second one is the fact that you probably want a hard top. I know that a lot of people like convertibles, the cabriolets are really popular, but as cars get older, you kind of, especially with these Porsches, the hard tops can have issues with all the mechanics that go into them. And then also the fact that, you know, a 911 is a sporty driving car, or a Porsche is a sporty driving car, and an enthusiast 10, 15 years from now might want that extra body rigidity that they're going to get out of a hard top. I know you cabriolet guys, like, I'm not throwing shade at you. I'm just trying to, you know, explain exactly how you can preserve as much value as you can in the long run. Another thing, the third point and the final point I have in this whole kind of framework is buying the right car at the beginning. This wasn't the first 911 I looked at. This was the fourth one I think I considered. I looked for a few months to find exactly what I wanted at the time, which was black on black with a manual and the 997.2. I say that 997.2 piece because, you know, you want to hedge as much risk as you can in order to preserve as much value as you can going forward. So the 997.2s weren't known for having any IMS issues. The bore scoring issues were mostly resolved. I know you can kind of get bore scoring on any engine, but the 997.2 is not known for having that issue. And always, whenever you're going to buy a car, I would recommend a pre-purchase inspection. If the dealer doesn't want you to get a pre-purchase inspection, that's like a big red flag. Another thing with 911 specifically, like, you can get a DME report, which is over-rev report. That is going to be more important for the manual transmission cars to see if they have been over-revved or money shifted, whatever you want to say. Obviously, the PDKs probably aren't going to let you have that problem, but just something to call out. You want to make sure that those three things are going to be kind of taken care of. And hopefully, if you follow that advice, you will be able to find a Porsche, a 911, a Boxster, a Cayman, something at the bottom of its depreciation curve, and enjoy it for many years without losing as much value. There were a couple times in my ownership that I actually kind of got serious about selling this car. The first time, a friend of my brother-in-law who had had a bunch of Porsches over the years wanted to get back into one. And I was kind of thinking about selling, so I sent him the specs, I sent him some pictures. I was like, I'll think about how much the price I want to ask is. And then I changed my mind. I decided I wanted to keep it. And so, you know, he had to look elsewhere. The other thing that I did is a couple years after that, I really was like, I want this car to go. Like, I think I've done what I want with it. I think I want it to go. And I got so far as to fix some things that were wrong with the inside of it, like the door handle had some paint scratches on it. I fixed that. You know, the leather needed a little bit of TLC, so I had a leather repair guy come out and fix that. And then the biggest thing is the wheels all needed a little bit of refinishing, so I had someone come, you know, do what they do, fix the paint, redo the clear coat, everything on the wheels. And then the same thing happened that always happens, and I was like, what am I going to replace it with? There's not really anything out there that is as good at the price point that it is. And you know, I was so far ahead with this car, and I've had it for so long, I know the history of it, so I just changed my mind again. So that's just like seems to be a recurring theme with me in this car, is I love it, and then I don't think I need to let it go, and then I change my mind, and then I keep it for a few more years. This car shows that the idea of a free Porsche can be real. The math on this car is real, but the exit forces us to do something that most of us won't, and that is selling a car we love when it makes the most financial sense.